All right, here we go. Turn 28. It's October 1916, and the war on the Eastern Front continues. The Germans attacked here, demoralized the unit, took loss of two units. They lost 2 units, I believe, in that attack, and took out some units, and then pushed them back here. Now, the big story was the assault. Lemberg is back in the hands of the Austrians. At the cost, they lost one complete army group out of the mix, but they did take the city back, so it's now in their hands, even though things on their southern front of their country is looking kind of precarious. But that's everything that happened on the eastern front. Now, when we go over here to the southeastern front, all right, there was an attack here by the Germans. They moved in some reinforcements here enough. They took out a unit, and then they also demoralized a Romanian unit that fell back to here, and it will have to fall back even more in a second. Nothing here. They did nothing in that area. Just sent more reinforcements in. They did send some reinforcements over here that attacked these Romanian troops that were going along this route, and destroyed one and demoralized another and pushed them back. So that is everything that happened on the southeastern front. All right. And then we mosey on over here. We have the German forces have moved in, creating a pocket of British in this area. So it's getting a little unattainable for the moment for the Brits. Either they're going to have to sortie out and attack, or fall back and load up on the ships and head out to sea and maybe send them elsewhere. So that's what's going on there. The very first units of Americans have the 1st Infantry Division has shown up in Paris, not Paris, but in London. So the Americans have showed up. All right, so that's what's happening there. Let's see. Now, I was just looking at the supply situation down here. All these troops right here for the British are now supplied by land supply sources of cities. They do have an open channel to the Russians. They have cities in Greece, and they do have a city here in minor cities in Romania, and they also get supply source coming from the Middle East box too. So these guys here are no longer have to worry about any supplies coming in by sea. So they're totally supplied by land now. Now that's one good thing. So that means that all the troops that are over in France can either get pulled out immediately if they want to, or they can start getting more troops being funneled in, and we'll just have to go from there. But I think from November on through March, you can't do an amphibious invasion anywhere. I have to take a look, but I think that's true. So if they want to continue to hold troops in France, they're going to have to hold what they got and send reinforcements to the ports. All right, so there you go. All right, so we're going to come back with the British and actually the Allied turn and see what happens. All right, here we go. It's October, Allied turn, 1916, Eastern Front. The Russians did move some troops in. They bought a bunch of cheap troops, like all these right here, these 353, because they needed some warm bodies at the moment. They did do an attack here on Lemberg, and it failed. They did take out a couple of the Austrian units, but they left one unit, and that's because it rolled a 1 and it ended up becoming an attacker demoralized, so they had to fall back. That doesn't happen too often, but it does happen where the attacker gets demoralized. So they did have to fall back there. And that is the extent of that. Romanian cavalry shows up over here. Look like they're going to do some anti-cav stuff, possibly. They moved in some reinforcements to here. The cav that was here, they pulled back and railed over there. And then they're moved some of the Romanian troops up the way. Greece is falling in behind them. And there was one attack that happened right here. The Brits moved in and did they had a couple exchanges, and a defender demoralized, which fell back there. So the Brits did lose some troops in the process and took out a few German troops also. But, you know, they gained some ground because of it, and this unit that was demoralized fell back to here, and that's where it's going to park for the turn. All right. Over here, over Dale, all along the Desert Trail, the Brits fell back to here. They did get some troops into the port, and some other ones were in breach port, had enough movement, and they made it to London, which is over here, and said hello to the Yanks. There you go. And right now the Americans only have one unit. It's going to take a while for them to start shipping troops over. So it's going to be another 6 months before the American army even shows itself. Kind of like what happened in the beginning of the war, where the Brits slowly built up their troops. If they would have the current army they have right now in 1914, I don't think the Germans could ever take France, because they're, you know, you'd be looking at a solid red army from here to here. That whole northern flank through Belgium would be what we have now, and it's just not happening. But that's what the Americans are going to go through. They have to build their force up. So they fell back to here and pulling these troops with them. So that's everything that happened in this turn for the Allies. And we're going to go into November, which then we'll have to decide what's going to happen with Italy. We don't know yet. All right, we'll find out in the next turn. All right, we'll see you in the next one.